Caroline Church of Brookhaven.
Are there any Revolutionary War soldiers here?
Wounded members of the Revolutionary War were taken uphill to this church.
Show yourself.
This shed used to be a one-room school. The prominent families of Setauket purchased their stalls for their horses and carriages in here. My name is Nicholas. I am a young paranormal investigator in search of proof of the spirit world. I am also a person that can easily sense and feel spirit energy around me. I am joined by my uncle and cameraman, William, and my father and executive producer, Nick. We will search for ghosts at some of the world's most creepiest haunts. This is a haunted legacy. We're back in East Setauket, New York, continuing our Culper Spy Ring Expedition at another church which sits next to a carriage shed. This is the first time for our Culper Spy Ring Expedition that we're including 2 haunted locations for the price of 1. Sadly, for this episode, my father Nick broke his right foot and will be using crutches, so we invited my mother Jackie to step up for him by using his camera. When we all arrived, we geared up and began our mission. Okay, so this is our 3rd installment for our Culper Spy Ring Expedition. This place right here is the Caroline Church of Brookhaven, and it was organized in 1723, which was 9 years before the birth of George Washington. This current building here was erected in 1729. During the Battle of Setauket, wounded members of the Revolutionary War were taken uphill to this church, and they would find shelter in the heat of a building that was already 48 years old. This church used to be called the Christ Church, but its name was rechanged later in the years. The interior of this church has been redesigned throughout the centuries. The burial ground was acquired in 1734. So right now we're going to head into the burial ground and see if we can contact any spirits of Revolutionary War soldiers, if they are here. So let's go, everyone. One day, Nathan Hale chooses to travel to Norwalk, Connecticut, in disguise as a nomadic schoolteacher. His objective was to document the strength of the British troops and figure out what their next plan of attack will be. However, Hale never achieved that goal. After 7 days, a random British officer came to the American camp to talk about a prisoner exchange, and also mentions that Nathan Hale was hung that very morning. He was handed over for execution to William Cunningham, a British marshal. He emphatically declines Hale's final request for a Holy Bible to comfort him, but allows him to write farewell letters to both his family and commander. After Nathan Hale was hung, Cunningham rips his farewell letters up. Once we had all walked through the front gate, we started to read some of the names that are imprinted on the headstones. We started to set foot on the burial ground. My uncle and I veered off into the cemetery away from my parents, and I began an EVP session. I began to reach out to the spirits of any Revolutionary War soldiers. Hello, spirits of the Caroline Church of Brookhaven. Are there any Revolutionary War soldiers here in this burial ground? My name is Nicholas. This is my Uncle William, this is my father Nick, and that's my mother Jackie. Do you have anything you want to say in this recorder? Please let me know.
Hello, spirits of the Caroline Church of Brookhaven.
I ended the first session and started the second one.
Let's use the ghost meter now and see what happens.
I held out my gear near multiple headstones and waited for a sign. For the first 15 minutes, no voices were captured, so I kept on asking questions. Look around some more.
Alright, come on, spirits, talk. George Washington, are you here?
This church is also famous for the fact that a bullet from the Battle of Setauket is preserved and showcased inside the building.
Wow, this place is massive. Look at it. I'm just gonna do an experiment. Let me put this right here. See if anything happens. Whoa.
Then my digital voice recorder's battery died,
Oops, my battery died.
so I ended our EVP sessions.
I'll just use the ghost meter. Caleb Brewster, are you here? Abraham Woodhull. Austin Rowe. Show yourself. We don't impede on you. Oh, look at that, Helen. Mom, look.
That's the third Helen I saw right here. I saw three Helens.
Bring Dad.
And over here's the William.
Yeah, where?
Three Helens.
Where's a William?
And right here's the William.
Look at that. Helen and William.
And then there's two Helens back here. So it's the third Helen in a row.
As I continued reading the names, I frequently spotted the name Helen. Now, of course, this may be nothing special, but I kept on spotting that name. The way that I interpret it is that it could perhaps be my Grandma Helen's spirit communicating with us, as if we were enticed to come here. But that's not all. Also, the day that we shot this episode was sometime in November, the same month that my grandmother Helen was born. Then, incredibly, we spotted the name William now. However, we don't feel that this is a reference to my Uncle William, but rather a sign from my Grandma Helen's husband, who was named William also, and who I refer to as my Grandpa Billy.
So we just came across 3 tombstones that had my Grandma Helen's name. Of course, it's a different Helen, and my Uncle William. So I think we were drawn here or something. Hey, Dad. Check it out. We just came across 3 Helens on the tombstones.
Really?
And then 1 William.
And a William?
Yeah,
Wow.
look.
After all that, we proceeded with our ghost hunt in the cemetery, and we kept on trying to find the spirits aside from my grandparents that were alive centuries ago. Throughout the last few minutes of our search in the burial ground, nothing else happened. So we figured it was now time to end our ghost hunt at the Caroline Church of Brookhaven. So, that's it for the Caroline Church of Brookhaven, and we didn't capture any evidence here, but we got a little synchronicity of something. There's so many people named Helen and William that are buried here, with their names imprinted on their headstones. I know that they're not ours, obviously, but the fact that it happened multiple times could mean that you're probably drawn here or something for a reason. So that could count as evidence too, definitely. Now we're going to search at the carriage shed, where there's a lot of history and hauntings associated with it. So off we go. This is the carriage shed. This shed used to be a one-room school, and it was completed in 1887. The prominent families of Setauket purchased their stalls for their horses and carriages in here, and people today like to take photographs of it since it is so symbolic, and the names of some of the families of Setauket are imprinted on the rear walls. So let's see if we can find anything or anybody in here. We stepped inside the carriage shed. My uncle followed me as I investigated. I used my ghost meter for the whole time while inside the shed. I then tried to search for the names imprinted on the walls. But I was in no luck. My meter was not detecting a presence. Nothing supernatural was happening inside the shed.
Nothing yet. My voice recorder died, so I'm looking in the carriage shed with the ghost meter. No names are listed on here.
As I began to walk out of the carriage shed, something happens.
Look, my ghost meter is going up slightly. See it?
My EMF meter detected some sort of energy, and it lit up and beeped for a fraction of a second.
Look, my ghost meter is going up slightly. See it?
This was totally unexplained. We spent a total of 10 minutes inside the shed. Thus, we all decided to wrap up. So that's it for the carriage shed, and nothing really happened in here, except for that moment when my meter spiked for a second. But I felt it could have been something paranormal, because it just randomly happened out of nowhere. And there's clearly no electrical wires in this shed, it's all made of wood. So this left me stumped. But we got more of our Culper Spy Ring Expedition sites to check out. Our next one should hopefully happen in a few months from now. But for today, our work here is done. Our investigation of the Caroline Church of Brookhaven was brief and unforgettable. As we were walking around in the cemetery, we tried very hard to find any lingering earthbound souls. Throughout our search, nothing paranormal happened. But as I was reading the headstones, the names Helen and William recurringly appeared. Although this was most likely nothing, I felt it was my grandparents sending us all a message. Then later on, we explored inside an old run-down carriage shed next to the church. During this walkthrough, we kept looking for both the spirits and the names that were written on the back wall of the shed. The only occurrence that happened was when my EMF meter spiked for a second. These two locations were magnificent for us, and our Culper Spy Ring Expedition is only going to get more interesting and spooky.